previously on the Elevate With Us podcast.
Today, I'm really excited to introduce our guest, Tia Lipko. For sure.
So it's consistent follow-up, making people feel important, and creating opportunity when there's not opportunity there.
Most people want mentorship or need mentorship, but hire for coaching.
Right.
And they have it wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
And coaching can help with some of that, but yeah, so the difference between like coaching and mentorship though is mentorship is like, I've already been there, I've done that, I'm going to help you along in the process. So typically a lot of mentoring also has a lot of consulting. So consulting is like, I have the answers. Like, I've been there, I've done that, I have the experience. I can tell you that A and B equals C. I can give you a pathway and say, if you do these things, you will get here. But mentorship is kind of like the hand-holding process of getting those things done.
Getting those answers.
So, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then counseling is like to help with past issues, and that's usually done by a licensed professional.
Right.
So it's not anything that I mess with, but yeah, that's the difference that a lot of people don't realize. That they're like, oh, I'm talking to my coach. Okay, but is it a coach or are you getting consultation work? Is it more strategic or like, what are you guys doing, you know? So.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's something I'm quite passionate about as well. And it's one of my goals for the future is to get more into coaching and mentorship. But it's really hard because people don't know what they need.
Yeah.
And you've kind of got to figure it out and then tease it out and be like, hey, just so you know, you're really looking for this. And I have also felt that mentorship also might be a little bit more specific. Like in real estate, I want to learn how to be a better listing agent. Mm-hmm. To me, that would be more of a mentorship or a consulting relationship actually than coaching, because you could ask questions, but they want the tools.
Yeah.
They want the scripts. They want the stuff to get them there.
That's more consulting for sure. And it's interesting, something that you had said was you're talking about, you know, what people are wanting and like they don't know what they need.
No.
And it's so interesting because like I don't think that I could ever have really been in a place to be able to help people on a coaching or a consulting level, especially a consulting level or mentorship level, if I haven't done all of the work that I've been doing for the past 5 years, hardcore learning about myself and doing a lot of self-awareness checks, learning about my triggers. Why do I act this way? I have this issue with expecting everybody to perform at the level that I perform at, and it frustrates me when people
girl,
don't.
you're speaking my language.
So that is something that I had to overcome.
That's really hard.
It was very hard for me.
It's really, really hard. So the guy, the Wolf of Wall Street guy, I think his name is Jared, he did a talk at a Realty One Group conference. And off to the side, someone from Realty One Group that I'm really good friends with said, hey, like, I just, what is your best piece of advice? And it's kind of related to this, as he goes, imagine that we all have to sell ice and you get, you know, the more bags of ice you sell, the better you are. You can't take someone that only wants to sell 1 bag of ice and then turn them into a 3-bag of icer, no matter what you do, but you need to get that 1 bag of ice to be the best bag of ice they've ever sold. And I always think about that when I meet with an agent and I feel that they could do more and they seem like they want to do more, but their actions are proving that they don't, that I always think, okay, they're just a 1 bag of icer. I see the 3 in them, but they don't want that. You can't make them get there.
Yeah, it can be super frustrating when you want something for somebody more than they want for themselves. But something that you were talking about there, and this is one of my favorite books from 2 years ago.
Yes.
And it is called The Power of One More by 𝗥𝗲𝗄, and he talks.
I haven't read that one. Say it one more time.
The Power of One More.
The Power of One More.
By 𝗥𝗲𝗄.
𝗥𝗲𝗄.
And he talks about people's internal temperatures. So it's kind of like when I was reading it, I was thinking about how some women always choose the same sort of bad guys or the guys that aren't good for them. And then if they do happen to get a really great guy, they
mess that up.
Relationship.
Mess it up.
So I was like, man, this is like, that's what it is. So if your internal temperature is set at 75, you're never going to get to 100 but you have to, you got to go back and figure out, well, why is my temperature at 75?
Yeah.
Like, let's figure that out. And that's the kind of work that I did for so long, for 5 years, was really figure out like, well, what are my limiting beliefs? And why do I think, why am I getting triggered by people not operating at the level I feel they should be operating at?
Right.
What can I do about it? What's in my control? So that in its essence right there, if people, there's a statistic.
I'm so ready. I love this.
So only 10% of people in the world are actually self-aware. That is staggering.
What?
Yes. 10%.
Are some people kind of self-aware?
I think there's levels of self-awareness.
Yeah.
But I mean, if they were using like Pietro's principle of 80-20, to use that as 80, if you're 80%, you can call yourself self-aware, then it's still only 10% because people haven't done the work. They just sit around and they're
sure.
toxicity.
I mean, let's be honest. We are surrounded by distractions. Like, where is it? This little bad boy right here. Right? You can doom scroll.
Yep.
Right? And I love it. I mean, I really love.
I love TikTok.
I
it
love.
helps me get out of my head.
I mean, it is. I think it's so funny. All of my videos are either about real estate, dogs or cats, and horses. Every single one of them. And what is so scary is those are probably my top things in my life, right? And so it knows. Well, sometimes food. Sometimes food, but it depends on the week. Because I clearly, the week before probably didn't look at a lot of it, so I don't get thrown up. And so they know exactly how to hook me in. I mean, have you doom scrolled for so long that you're like, why am I not sleeping?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is embarrassing. Like, I'm better than that.
But yeah, there's a lot of distraction.
Yes,
so
to prevent us from working on ourselves, right? Like
1,000%.
To prevent us from figuring out why we get mad when people don't perform or when people don't meet our expectations when we thought they were clear. That is a very hard one for me, where I feel I said do XYZ and they do like 196. I'm like, I said XYZ, like. Right. Where was the communication breakdown?
Right. And like, it's part of leadership because you are leading at such a high level and so many people, but it's like knowing to ask those questions. And as a leader, a good, healthy leader will sit there and be like, wait, did I communicate everything right?
Oh yeah.
Did I put it here right?
Yep.
Like, did I check all the T's or cross all the T's and dot all the I's?
I know what you meant. It is. I mean, I would say being a leader has been really fulfilling, but really hard at the same time. Your weaknesses or the things that you're not good at really come to the surface really, really fast. Yes. At exponentially. Yeah. And I'm really lucky. There's an agent in my brokerage who did business coaching at the corporate level and has taken me under her wing and has all kinds of certifications and everything related to it. And I just love that she helps me and she makes me feel so good about what I've done because I don't necessarily have leadership training. I became a certified real estate coach, which was fun. I learned all about the questioning and it's very fascinating having been coached for so long to understand the other side of it is really, really great. And I'm able to, I use it with my kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so great.
Totally transferable.
Super. You can use it for everything. Just like, have you read the book, Never Split the Difference?
Yes.
With Chris Voss? Man, I love to mirror all day long, like especially with Sam. And he's also read the book, and we love watching Chris Voss on TV on Masterclass. And all of a sudden he'd be like, were you just mirroring?
I'm like, I know what you're doing.
Yeah, but
it's actually passive aggressive.
It's so funny, right? And he's like, wait, did you? Yeah. I just Chris Vossed you.
Sometimes, sometimes, especially like with my husband and I like working together and stuff.
No,
and he's he's like, Tia, I'm not on your couch. You got to quit coaching me. I need you to be my wife, not my boss right now. And I'm like, oh, okay, I got you.
Oh, that's so hard, right?
Oh, yeah.
Taking off all the hats?
Yeah, it's a lot sometimes. But it's good to have those conversations too in advance. Like that's a whole nother show for another
So you're
day,
gonna have to
working
come
with
on
your
again.
spouse, but
Oh, super hard, well, he's not my spouse, but my person,
Partner.
my life partner,
Yes,
or
yeah.
whatever I want to call him. It is hard, but you know, I can't imagine doing it any differently at this point. You know, it's for us. It happened very. It just happened. It wasn't planned, you know, and it's been really good because. So, how long have you and Kyle been working together? The whole time?
oh my gosh, we've been. I started with the company 7 years ago. Prior to having working in Pro-Spect, we owned a moving company together.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
You owned in Delaware. You owned a moving company.
Yes, it was the most stressful thing I ever did in my life.
What was that like?
So it was interesting. Shout out to all the movers in Jacksonville. I know what you're going through. It's very interesting. We learned a lot. You cannot buy that kind of knowledge. But Kyle and I have always been really, really good at working together. Our problem is shutting it off. We're very good at
I recognize that. Mm-hmm.
We're very good at staying in our lanes, and like I have the utmost respect for what he does as an inspector, and I know that I can't do what he does as an inspector.
Right.
And he knows that like he hasn't had the leadership training that I've had, and he hasn't had the marketing training that I've had, so he respects me in those avenues.
Sure.
So we just kind of work off each other, but it's turning it off that's the problem.
No, I relate to 100%. Sometimes it's like 11 p.m. and I'm like, and we shouldn't talk about this anymore. But when it's your baby and you're passionate about it, you know, you're always trying to make it better. And sometimes after sitting and watching a TV show or reading a book, all of a sudden you have an idea and you want to share it. And the person's right there that you could share it with. You don't have to wait till the morning. So why not?
And that's like that's the more fun stuff that you can share, right?
Yeah.
That's like, I'm an idea person. So I'm like, I got an idea. And he's like, oh God. So, and then I'm talking about it for 50 minutes in bed when he's trying to sleep.
Yeah.
But we kind of had to start with like, identifying like a trigger, like this is if the computer shuts or the dinner's on the table, like stop.
It's done.
Stop.
It's done.
So, and thankfully, like here in Jacksonville, we have had like the best response. Like when I tell you, they're the most phenomenal realtors work here. I'm not joking. There is something about the Southern hospitality. Or just
right, because you came from Delaware. Sure.
And there's wonderful agents in Delaware.
Sure.
There's just agents up north versus agents here just operate at a different level. There's just a lot more gentleness here and consideration. Just everybody's really, really nice. Really, really nice.
Well, so I was just talking to somebody about this yesterday because I've practiced real estate in a couple of different places, is that real estate has a culture.
Yes.
And even though, and I bet you do you do this anywhere else in Florida?
Down in Lakeland and like Tampa area.
And is it a little bit different there?
It's different there.
So I was just talking to somebody about this and I said, hey, you know, we could take this real estate that we do here and if we all picked ourselves up and put ourselves in Orlando, it's the same real estate law, but the culture of how we interact and how you make appointments and what happens at open houses and, you know, who goes to a home inspection or the appraisal, it's different.
Absolutely.
Even though it's the same.
Yeah.
I guarantee you that it's different.
Yeah. And like we serve in Pennsylvania as well.
Okay.
And New Jersey and Delaware and Maryland. Every single pocket is different. You're talking Poconos, Pennsylvania, where we call them hardy northerners. And like you got guys with like, you know, our inspectors got 5 foot of snow outside on the ground and they're wearing shorts and work boots to the inspections because that's how they're built up there.
Shorts and work boots when it's snowing. Right. I mean, I'm from Connecticut and I didn't do that ever.
Yep. And then,
yikes.
But those are completely different Pennsylvanians.
They are hardy.
Than Philadelphia. Philadelphia is completely different.
I mean, if it's like, I don't know, 50 degrees outside, us now Floridians have like Ugg boots on.
60 is the new 40. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
I mean, it's so funny. As soon as it gets cold, you're like, ooh, because you have winter clothes still. You're like, oh my God, what can I wear? I can pull out my favorite sweater. Yeah. Like you're just waiting for that cold day, but then you don't want it to stay too long.
Yeah.
We just want a little
break,
a little glimpse of cold. Yeah. So what I have found with, you know, the many guests I've had and almost all our entrepreneurs is you are a serial entrepreneur. You've got that like
I'm a builder.
You got a little because you had the little you had the home inspection company and then the moving company.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's important to know I don't own Pro-Spect.
I know you don't, but to me, but you like own it here. Like you're like the
I'm-
face of
yeah,
it here, right?
Yeah, I have.
And but you support it and you help build it, so it's your baby.
It's really, and a lot of people, and even as this is so vulnerable, but like there aren't, I don't want to say that there are a lot of people, but there have been people that have said to me, they're like, well, why would you pick up and move from Delaware and go open a home inspection company, go do all of that for a company that's not your own? And it got in my head for a little while. But I was like, because me and my husband are incredibly capable of doing this ourselves. Like,
Right.
We're going down here and establishing new connections, and we understand how to do it. We understand all the things. So that got in my head for a little bit, but Christy and Wes, who own Pro-Spect, I can have that challenging conversation with them. And I'm just like, guys, like, this is what's going on in my mind. This is what I'm feeling in my heart. And like, I just need you to talk me through this. Like, why shouldn't we be doing this for ourselves? And then me and my husband really just made the decision that we just love being part of the company. And it's very not typical to have ownership like we have, and a very healthy fostering environment where I can sit there and I can ask them the toughest questions, and they know that it's coming from a place of care and love, and I know that they care and love for us. So that's why we.
Well, I think what that's done is it's made you a very powerful leader, because you've had them to
absolutely.
be really, really caring and have empathy, which is really, really important. And it's made you feel comfortable to be vulnerable and to ask tough questions, and probably, vice versa.
Yeah.
Because that is a really good question, is why wouldn't you do it on your own? But then why would you? Like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Unless you want to.
Yeah.
And there's something to be said about having a support system.
Yeah.
And about having someone there to lean on to. A lot of people have asked me, why did I own a franchise? Why didn't I do a mom and pop? And it's because I have a support system.
Yeah.
I have an entire group of leaders that a lot of leadership owned brokerages and might have been brokers at a Realty One group or another company. And I have all these people I can reach out to, and I have an entire network of other broker owners throughout the country that I can reach out to. So I get it. I think it's so funny. People love to ask why, but then like not really understand, like, do they come from an entrepreneurial spot? The people that were like, why don't you do it on your own? And why would you help somebody else? I think we live in a world where it's like me. And even though I'm assuming this brings you joy, and you do it, and you do it for somebody else, but in the end you do it because you love it.
Yeah, and I'm a builder, hands down. Wes is the driving force of the company. Like, he is the driver. He is like the 3 on the Enneagram. He's like, let's charge, and like, I feed off that energy. And then I do have a lot of drive myself. Christy is definitely like the visionary and like the soft spot. She's like, let's not forget to incorporate a lot of the humanality, and like, how do we care better? How do we love better? So they're like really good together.
Sure, that sounds amazing.
And then Kyle and I actually are very similar in the same ways. So I'm more like Wes, and he's more like Christy.
Oh, cool.
It's so interesting. He's like the care and love spot, and I'm like more the driver, and I'm like, all right, let's go. We both care. We all care, but
no, I know.
It's cool. It's an interesting dynamic, and it's been such an adventure. And one of the best things I would say is that when even if you are doing it for yourself, whatever it is that you are doing, like, get self-aware, know where your ceilings are, masterminding with other people, like, open your books, have somebody come in that's already been there and done that and is doing it better than you are, and be humble enough to be like, they're doing it better than me.
Sure.
And let them look at your processes. Let them get in there deep and be like, hey, if you did this, and this, you could be here.
Sure.
So like, humility, self-awareness, masterminding, and taking action. Like, if you guys want the secret sauce, there it is,
Well, I think you always have to be improving. And I've had a lot of people, what do you think the secret to success is? And I would just say consistency. Yeah. Just showing up every day, right? If you want to get strong, you got to consistently work out. If you want to sell more houses, you got to consistently talk to people. Like, just start there, right? But then those are really good points too, is that, perhaps you've had a little bit of failure and you've got to figure out, well, what did I do or what didn't I do that caused that?
Yeah.
And, I think we live in a generation where we got like participation awards.
Yeah.
And they were like, hey, good job. Like, you showed up.
Yeah.
Woo. We also, I'm gonna say something really controversial. We also live in a world where we celebrate people graduating kindergarten, 8th grade, where everyone's doing it. Like, no one's not.
I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Like, you're getting rewarded for a guarantee.
Oh, okay. I got you.
So like, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like most, maybe some kids don't go to kindergarten, but some people repeat it, but not really. They don't really into that. So we live in a society where you celebrate a guarantee and you get participation awards. So why would you dig deep? Mm-hmm. Why would you self-reflect? It's not really taught when we're young. Do you think?
No. No. I think the kids in school that, without getting too crazy into it, but the kids in school that ask the questions, even the employees that you have that ask the questions, and they might come across really like, well, I don't know why they said that, and maybe they weren't saying it right, but it's because they're curious and they're asking challenging questions because they need to understand something, whatever it is. But as a leader, as a teacher, as whatever, it's important to recognize that there is such a talent in that.
Absolutely.
As far as like those people that are coming to you and challenging like the status quo on anything are the thinkers. Those are the people that are the innovators. They're the idea people, and they want to understand why, 1 + 2 = 3, because they already can see what 4 and 5 make. You know what I mean? So it's kind of...
That's phenomenal. That's really, really good, because I think sometimes when we're building a business, we might get frustrated with when people are asking, well, why do we do it that way? Why do we do it that way? Because we're running so fast and we're doing all these things. But understanding why that person would ask, and does that mean there's a breakdown in the system? Right? Like, there's so many reasons that you could figure out why did they ask that? Was it because it wasn't explained right in the beginning, or was there a change and we didn't really notice that something happened around us that caused that to be different than it shouldn't be?
There's so many things with that. It could be, the first thing is somebody's coming to me and they're asking me a question that I thought that I already provided the answer for. I'm going to ask myself, did I explain this well? Did I give them everything they needed? And then I'm going to be like, well, are they learning it the way they need to learn it?
Yep.
Are they soaking it in? Am I doing a good job on casting the vision? Did I share the overall picture? Did I share 5 years, 10 years? I am a futuristic thinker, so it's really easy for me to put my headspace and my mind 5 years from now. But sometimes that comes at the sacrifice of figuring out what's happening next month, next quarter. And I haven't communicated that because my mind's in the clouds.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Listen, this was amazing. You provided some great information, some really, really thought-provoking ideas, and I really appreciate your time today, and I think you're going to have to come back. We got a lot more to talk about.
Thanks.
Thanks, Tia.
Thanks for having me.